What on earth is going on with Ben Simmons?
I do, and me and Coop have talked about this. We both agree. Like Doc, I do not think he is getting enough of the hate here. I think that he did not make the necessary adjustments in the series that needed to be, done in order to win. I do not think there's any excuse for the Philadelphia 76ers to lose to the Hawks. At the end of the day, Ben Simmons didn't really he didn't shoot a ton and didn't score a ton in the games 5, 6, and 7. But that is who Ben Simmons has been as a player for this entire season. Like, I don't know why this is such a big shock. I think it's just more of people's expectations, and he is the scapegoat of, of the Philadelphia 76ers failing. And I think if he had just dunked that ball instead, and we all know the play I'm talking about, if he had just dunked that ball instead of passing it, which at the end of that game, which led to, them only making one free throw, I think the hate would have been significantly worse. I think that play just kind of summed up Ben Simmons, and it was just right there on national television in front of us. And it just gave everyone a chance to just pile on the hate. With that said, I don't think he can come back to Philly because I think that Philly fans are just hate him at this point. And it's kind of gone too far. You have Doc straight up saying, is he a championship point guard? He said, I can't answer that question, blah, 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 AKA no. If you're not saying yes, you're saying no. You have, you have Joel Embiid coming out and being like, I think the turning point of the game was when Ben Simmons passed that shot away, passed when he could have dunked, and then Trae Young comes down and hits a three. Joel, I love him. He had 7 turnovers, 8 turnovers, and had a key critical turnover in that game as well. I think Embiid is over Simmons. I think just Philly's over Simmons. With that in mind, I think this is going to be a great wake-up call for Ben Simmons. I think that we're going to see what happens next season. These are the moments where you see a player's character. Is Ben Simmons going to take all this hate? Is he going to really soak this in? Because he said himself that he has not been held accountable. Is he going to actually take this and go into the gym this season finally and start putting up jumpers? What do you guys think? It looks like Mike does not agree.
What do you mean he hasn't been held accountable? The hell's that supposed to mean?
He said that himself. He literally said that himself.
Yeah, these are actually his words.
His own words were, I have not been held accountable.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
I'm not responding to you. It's just
okay.
Bro, dude, with all due respect, this dude has been the same player since the moment he stepped foot in the NBA. Now, if he at least was beginning to attempt 3-pointers, or if he was working on his jump shot throughout the offseason, then okay. But he has literally been the exact same player. If you pull up his averages, they are practically identical. About 14 points per game this past year, but 16 points per game.
It's actually crazy how identical they are.
It's
are not even making when they say that people say that all the time. This guy's been the same kind of player as what he's literally been the same player, almost identical in his stats. If anything, in some places he's gone down.
Let me tell you what bothers me about Ben Simmons, and this is why I wrote him off as a player 2 years ago, and Sixers fans were burning me on Twitter saying, no, but he took strides defensively this year, which I knew was a sham and was one of those things that as soon as he makes it to the playoffs, he was going to be exposed for what he really is. Because I personally don't believe in defensive awards. I don't think they translate to the playoffs, really. We saw it happen to Rudy Gobert. We see it happen to Giannis all the time, over the past couple of years. We saw it happen to Ben Simmons this year. But the one thing that bothers me with Ben Simmons is he seems so content with his complacency. And I never see videos of him working on his game. I see videos of him hitting the club. I don't see videos of this man working on his game. And the fact that he's given a very similar exit interview each and every year. And the one quote that he said in this interview that drove me crazy is, I am who I am. What do you mean you are who you are, bro? Like,
I think that was fake confidence. I don't think that was him being arrogant. I mean, I think everybody was piling on him. Did you actually watch the interview? They asked him some brutal questions.
That
they asked him
interview
some
was
incredibly
nuts.
brutal questions.
I've never seen I actually have never seen an NBA all-star just get actually asked questions that were that direct. After
it was disrespectful. It was disrespectful. And at this time, he knows the whole world is against him. We know that with the jump shot, it's somewhat mental for Ben Simmons. We know he struggles with confidence in that regard. So I don't think that was him being arrogant. I think that was him alluding a fake confidence to the rest of the world. And honestly, I mean, I don't blame him for that interview. Now, to touch on what you said, Flight Mike, about being held accountable, I really don't think he's been held as accountable as he should. Every coach he's been with has pretty much babied him, at least to my knowledge. Even throughout this regular season, Doc Rivers continually went to bat for Ben Simmons. If you have a problem with the way he was playing in the regular season, or if you have a problem with the way he played in the playoffs, address it in the regular season. If you want him to shoot and he's not shooting, bench him. Be the change that you want to see.
Agreed. It really felt like at the end of Game 7, it felt like the end of multiple games in that Hawks series. I was fully questioning who are the Sixers going to be putting out on the court, because I'm not even sure they knew. They were throwing out guys, we'd see Furkan, we'd see Seth Curry, we'd see Thibault. Their lineup, their final 5-guy lineup was not set. It was up in the air. Ben Simmons is getting benched. You're absolutely right, Coop. If you're going to do that during the regular season. In terms of accountability, there's a difference between fans and, us and everyone on Twitter being like, work on your jumper, whatever. He has his inner circle. He has his inner people, his boys, his coaching staff, his teammates. They are the ones that are not holding him accountable. That is what he means. He's not saying okay, yeah, the fans are telling me I can't shoot. He's saying that basically the coaching staff has not been on his ass being get a jump shot because you are screwing over our team. Now, will that happen with the next team? Will that matter to him? I'm not sure, because I also agree with Mike where I have seen complacency. What has Ben Simmons shown us for us to think that he is going to just suddenly right now decide to start practicing his jump shot? What has he shown us that he's going to suddenly gain a competitive fire that he has not shown us? LSU Ben Simmons was way more aggressive and way more, at this point, we have shell-shocked Ben Simmons. And so, again, I'm interested to see what happens next season.
Here's the thing that bothers me, and Coop, I'm going to pass it off to you before we have a bunch of other stuff we should talk about, but you're telling me the reason why you haven't developed a jump shot or worked on your game, which, by the way, you have social media. Everyone in the world has said Ben Simmons needs to develop a jumper. The late, great Kobe Bryant literally has an interview that's trending, going viral, that says, where he says, he needs to develop a jump shot or else it's going to screw him over. And your excuse for not developing a jump shot or even attempting to work on a jump shot is no one's held you accountable. Dude, if you want to be great, if you truly want to be great, which he does have the talent to do so, then you got to work on it yourself. You have to analyze your game. You have to be obsessed, and you have to say, hey, this lack of a jumper is holding me back. But he seems content with his complacency, and that just might be who he is. He might be happy with the fact that he got paid over $120 million in his first contract,
which is not the wildest thing. That's not wild at all. I mean, if they were paying you $50 million every day to show up and do the same thing over and over and over, and nobody's telling you got to change anything. And I'm not talking about the outside noise. I'm talking about from in your circle, the coaches, everybody's like, hey, you killing it. Keep that stuff up. And they paying you, you're probably going to keep doing the same thing too.
Dude, he is getting one of the craziest bags. His extension kicks in for this year 5 years, 177 million. He might be content, honestly, and that's fine. Like, not everyone wants to be the greatest basketball player that ever lived. But in the case of the Philadelphia 76ers, what I would do, and we'll discuss this probably next, is I would try to trade him to the Portland Trailblazers and get back Damian Lillard. And I think the Portland Trailblazers would actually entertain that.
No, I don't think the Portland Trailblazers are entertaining anymore. Ben Simmons.
I think at one point,
I told Korzimba this. I told Korzimba that Brandon Ingram would be a much better trade piece than Ben Simmons. And
of course,
here we are.
Of course.
Listen, no, I think, Mike, I think I completely agree with you. You're definitely right. You just spoke some facts right there. Like, yeah, you're right. When he said, like, no one held me accountable. Like, hold yourself accountable, bro. Like, yeah. Do you want to be great? Like, do you think Kobe Bryant was ever going
he
no one held me accountable, so now, like, Kobe Bryant, when he was a rookie, airballed several clutch jump shots in a playoff situation and held himself accountable and made sure that never would happen again. Ben, is running down the court. Like, it is just so frustrating to watch him play basketball because you could just... I think it's just why everyone's so passionate about it and why, we're so passionate about it is because it's disappointing. It's just disappointing to see someone who has so much talent and has all the tools right there in front of them and isn't utilizing them to the best of their abilities because of a teachable skill. Shooting a basketball is a teachable skill. If you shoot a basketball a ton of times, you are going to get better at it. You can't teach someone to be way taller. It's very hard to, get someone basketball IQ up. There are some people that just have, natural born basketball IQ and amazing playmaking abilities. Shooting a basketball, you can learn. His form is not crazy broken. It's fine. Maybe he should be shooting with his right hand. That's a whole nother thing. But, just Ben Simmons, just get into the freaking gym and shoot a basketball, please. Now, going on to the Portland Trailblazers, I no longer think Damian Lillard's on the table. I think that Portland would be crazy to trade Dame for Ben Simmons. I don't think it makes any sense. If I'm Portland, maybe for CJ, but like my whole thing is if I'm Portland, I mean, yeah, for CJ, but Portland, if they're trading away Dame and CJ, like they're blowing it up, right? Like they're rebuilding. Like I want young pieces that I can rely on. If you're trading for Ben Simmons, that kind of means you're like centering your team.
I disagree. I disagree. I completely disagree with they have to rebuild if they trade for Ben Simmons. If you trade CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons,
I guess that's true.
Portland gets some much needed defense. Imagine then they go on to hire D'Antoni or something.
I was just saying if they trade.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. If you trade them both, you're obviously rebuilding.
Okay, but yeah, if you keep Dame and you're able to trade CJ, yeah, then that is you could build a team.
That's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. I think Dame and Simmons could do some damage together. I would love to see that.
What's not getting talked about at all is the pick and roll. Remember when Ben Simmons dropped his career high 40 points and was just consistently just rolling to the basket and just scoring at will? Like, why? Why not do that more? Yeah, maybe if you have a primary ball handler like Dame where you're able to set Ben Simmons in pick and roll situations and have shooters around him, maybe we're looking at a very different Ben Simmons because that actually has way more scoring potential.
Yeah, so guys, we are capping off the giveaway to the first 40,000 subscribers that turn on our notifications for the Laced Up podcast. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X is subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to do us a favor, leave a like on the pod and let me know in the comment section down below when it's done. You'll enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X.
If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're going to love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.